something I've been through, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Again, it comes back to that feeling, right? Mm-hmm. And what you're going through.
Yeah.
What's it like having your songs out? Because a lot of what I heard from your music was coming from, I think I heard you in a Citibank commercial one time, on a few TV shows as well.
Yeah.
What's it like to have your song on something, part of pop culture, and then maybe being taken out of context like that?
I think it's cool, because I think it's like, I think it's very telling, and it shows you also, like, even in an audience full of people, Dave Grohl has this like saying or something that I'm going to completely butcher, but the idea of it is that, like, you know, to sing a song for them, to sing a song to 50,000 people or something like that, and have them sing back like that many different meanings of the song, because everyone's taking it their way.
Yeah.
You know, like I had my cousin hit me about this new song that I'm doing tonight called Recovery, that's on my next record, and her son just recently passed away, you know, and the song's about like breaking up with your lover, which, like, she hit me this morning, and I don't know how she heard it because it's not out yet, but it's like probably she saw it on Instagram or something, but she was like, I can't believe that song, and I was listening to it, or singing it today at soundcheck, and I was thinking, wow, like, it's hitting her in another direction, I think, because of what she's like recovering from, you know, and that's the beauty of it, you know. I guess I feel very blessed, and I feel also like, you know, as things build, and, you know, when I'm like playing these bigger and bigger shows, I just feel like a responsibility to that, to try to connect to someone and help them, like, kind of, I guess I would hope to help them heal from something, but whatever, you know, it's not that deep.
Wow. But that's a beautiful thing to say, because people do find their own realizations from the words that you speak.
Yeah.
When you're writing, what's the best place to write at? Do you write in the tour bus? Is there a certain room in your house?
It's just wherever, you know. Like, one of the cool things about being like a hired gun songwriter, is that I learned how to, like, kind of, it's like the cry on command kind of thing, you know. Like, it's like you just learn to, like, go in a room. It's like, it's not particularly inspiring. Like it wasn't actually, I didn't know if the song was for me. I'll tell you, like, a random story, but a song that I have, Tightrope, on my last record, I wrote that in the most boring, like, 4 walls. I mean, it was like literally like in the space we are right now.
Yeah.
And it was like me and a guy with a computer, a guy from Germany, and we just were like, I couldn't wait to get out of that room. Like, I had the concept of Tightrope, and you know, we wrote it, and I laid it down, and I remember getting it back, and I was like, oh, this is actually something. You know, actually, this is something for me. I thought, I wasn't sure if I was writing for me or for someone else. I wasn't positive.
Yeah. But
I remember that session being just like brutal for me. I was like not in the mood to write and everything. And then when I got it back again, I just was like, oh shit, you know.
Wow.
But like the room was like absolutely uninspiring, and the time I wasn't in the mood. It was like beautiful out, like it always is in California, which is hard. And I was just like, I gotta get out of here. I want to drink a beer. Fuck this place. And you know, and a song came out of it. You just don't know.
It's where inspiration strikes, I guess. I know we don't have you for too long, so I don't want to take up too much of your time. You're playing here in Chicago at Chicago's Metro. It's a historic spot, especially for us here in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Do you have any ties to Chicago, the Midwest?
I don't, except that I've come here on tour a bunch, and I just like, there's something about it, like it's got like this, it's like kind of like an alternate universe New York City to me. You know? And the cleaner, like, happier version, I don't know, not really. But I like
we'll take it.
I like that it's got like this like super like, not seedy past, but, you know, like very, it's like a dark, like, you know, I think about what's his name, Al Capone and stuff like that, you know, and you just like, you know, and the nightlife and the it's like a foodie town and stuff like that. And I know there's something really cool about it. I've done Lollapalooza here, and that's really fun. And it's just like it's everything. It's like a very continental kind of like, you know, cosmopolitan, I meant to say, city, where it's just like, you know, it's kind of like waiting its turn to like take over, you know, at all times, you know. It's like
waiting in the background.
It's like if New York City, its older brother dies, it's like, we were always the best.
Hey, mama, I'm here now.
Yeah,
the favorite son.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's
I'm the king now. Yeah. The king died. I'm the king.
You know, you mentioned a lot of great things, and a lot of books came to mind, especially with inspiration. Are you reading anything now?
I am. I'm reading I'm reading the band story by Robbie Robertson right now. his bio.
About the band?
About the band.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
I'm reading like Last Exit to Brooklyn, which is very depressing, and I have them all on a Kindle, so I just kind of do that.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right, so we have some listener questions. Real quick, this is from our Twitter at SoundSeshPod. It's from LP.Blogspot. Huge fans of yours.
Yeah, I know.
They wanted to wish
Anna. Hi, Anna. What's up, boo?
Wanted to wish you the best.
Yeah.
When was Recovery written and recorded? Because they think it's incredible.
That was actually, it's an older song. It's a song I've had for like 5 years. It was a song I wrote really as a songwriter with Leona Lewis in mind. Mm-hmm. And I wrote it about my breakup at the time, the one before the Lost on You one. And I kind of was writing it from her perspective because I was like kind of, I knew that when I broke up with her, I was like, I need to leave her alone and let her heal a bit, even though I wanted to reach out to her. And so I wrote it from her perspective, and I wrote it from, I remember I wrote it because I had read somewhere that Leona Lewis just broke up with someone, and then I worked later with Leona Lewis, and we wrote a song together called Fingerprint that she put out. But I remember saying to her, I wrote this song, I don't think you guys chose it, but I figured you just went through a breakup and it's really terrible. And she's like, no, actually it was fine, we're friends at school. I was like, right, okay. Then I just and I wasn't really doing the artist thing quite yet, so I was like, I would like kind of put it aside for a minute, and I think I remember the A&R guy that I actually work with him now at RCA a bit, and he was pitching songs for me as a songwriter, but he was like, yeah, every time I play that song with someone, like a big person or whatever, there was like, why doesn't she just do it? Kind of thing. And then I was like, I don't know, I've always been really attached to it, and I think it's just been waiting for me to like get to the point. I think after kind of setting my thing up with like Lost on You, the record, and like I think it just fits me so much. It always has, but I think the setup for me now to put it out as an artist is really, really good, and I just like it's definitely one of those listen to in the dark kind of songs, Yeah.
Wow, timing is everything. I mean,
you don't gotta tell me that there. I get it.
All right, last question. Thanks again for taking the time to speak with us. There's a lot of people who are sitting in their parents' basements or their garages who...
What are you doing out there? Keep your hand down in your pants. Stop it. Cut it out. You're going to get hairy palms. Don't do it.
I was going to...
Sorry.
Yes, and
I know this is on NBC.
They're either doing that or they're playing their guitar or drum.
What are you playing down there? Cut it out.
It doesn't sound like a guitar down there.
Get off the dog. Anyway.
So what kind of advice can you give those musicians who are trying to, make it in the industry, or at least just get out there and play an open mic for the first time? What kind of advice can you give them?
First of all, you just have to do it. You have to and when I say do it, I mean write songs. Like I feel like for me, everybody's different. That's the thing. Like I'm always hesitant to give someone advice really, because we're all so different and everybody's career happens so differently. But I do feel like there's never any harm for anybody to just continuously write songs, because like Recovery, like we were just talking about, I was already 50 songs past Lost on You when Lost on You started to move in Europe, So and I was dropped from my label for that song. I played that song for Warner Brothers, and they were like, "That's great." Later, so and then it went on to do all these things for me, and Muddy Waters too, that got synced all these times, and so I just think continuously writing songs and not putting a lot of pressure on them. I think one of the things you do when you're an earlier songwriter is you write a song and you know it's good or you think it's good and you're like, this is the one. No, this is the one. And then you kind of your brain and your drive goes a little bit you're in the hot tub already, and then, but if you don't do that, if you continuously write songs, I think that it takes the pressure off any song making it for you, and you're already on to the next thing. And I think that songs are builders as well. I can tell you some songs that built up to other songs for me. And I also think that it became a way of truly finding myself as an artist, what was right for me, and where my tendencies to go were, and even just trying to do something off the beaten path for a change, and I just think that trying to be as prolific as possible is my advice to any songwriter, any singer, because it always comes down to songs. There's no whether you write it or someone else writes it. It's like it's those songs that get you somewhere. And I think if you have a hit, everybody wants you to have another hit. Mm-hmm. If you don't have a hit, everybody wishes you would have a hit. Mm-hmm. So the only way to do that is to keep writing songs, and that's my advice.
That's great advice.
Yay!
You got to keep on trucking.
There you go.
Okay. Thank you again for joining us here on Sound Sessions. You can see her tonight at Metro Chicago LP. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Can't get enough of Sound Sessions? Like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter @SoundSeshPod, and check us out on Instagram @SoundSessionsWGN.